In this video, I'm going to show you how to rough in the plumbing for a kitchen sink, and I'll be going over the drain lines and water lines. And if you're new to this channel, my name is Josh. This channel is all about DIY to save a ton of money. So be sure to subscribe, ring that bell so you get notification every time I release a new video, and hammer that like button for me. That's all I ask in return for making this video. So we got a lot to go over today, so let's get started. The kitchen sink is going to sit here directly in the center of this window. So because of that, this is going to have a center drain right in the center of the window as well, because with the double bowl sink, we're going to go right into the middle, hit our P-trap, and then go right in the center, and then down the 1.5-inch pipe for our drain. So we're going to drill a 2-inch hole directly in the center of this 2x6 plate. Before drilling this hole, ultimately we're going to have a sanity 16 inches to the center for the drain, and then we're going to vent out the top. And because of that, whenever we install the sanity, we want to make sure that this area is going to penetrate through the drywall. So if we come back about 1.5 inches to the center, that's going to get us through the drywall with no problem. So I'm going to measure back 1.5 inches, and right here is the center of where the window is for our drain to go down. So I'm going to mark this, then drill it out. This is a 2-inch hole saw, and a 2-inch hole saw works great for 1.5-inch pipe because it's going to fit snug around it, because you do not want an oversized hole, because if you do, you'll have to place fire resistant caulking around the edge for fire code in my area. So we want to make sure we have a snug hole around the pipe. I'm going to drill this out now with the hole saw. We are now through the floor. With a 2-inch hole, as you can see, a 1.5-inch pipe fits through the hole comfortably. We're now going to go below and transition the 2-inch pipe to accept the 1.5-inch pipe. I'm directly below the kitchen, and here's the hole back here where we just drilled out for the sink drain. And if you remember my plumbing video where I installed these drain lines underneath of the slab, this is the 2-inch pipe that I mentioned I placed here for this very reason. I'm going to cut this electrical tape, then undo these pressure lines, and then remove this strap. These were just taped around here to hold the water lines while the concrete was being poured. In order to glue on the PVC fittings, we will be priming the pipe first with the purple primer, and also inside the fitting followed up with the PVC cement. And we want to make sure that we use purple primer because we must be able to indicate that primer was used for code in my area, so it must be purple and not clear. To begin the transition, I will be installing this 2-inch collar first, followed up by this bushing that's going to reduce the collar down to 1.5 inches, so the 1.5-inch pipe will slide into it, and then we're going to place on our elbow. Now the PVC cement, and we must make a quarter turn whenever we place on our fittings, and hold down for 15 seconds. I'm now going to install the bushing in the top of the collar. I'm now going to transition to the 1.5-inch pipe, so I'm going to glue this into place, and I want this at a height that's going to be acceptable to get me up above this wall so we can go up to our drain. We are now transitioned to the 1.5-inch pipe. With a scrap piece of pipe stubbed down to give us a target, we're going to install the elbow going towards that pipe, and we do have some play here so we can get this lined up perfect. And then we have another 90-degree elbow to go straight up, and we cannot use the vent elbows here. They have to be the longer sweep elbows. So this one's going to point up. So ultimately we will be going 90, then going over, then 90 back up into the floor. If you are going to be roughing in your own plumbing like you see me doing here, oftentimes you'll have to apply for the proper permits to do so. So always check your local building codes and get the proper permits to do your own plumbing. And that's how we do our own plumbing in our area. And if you're not comfortable doing your own plumbing, obviously hire a professional. And the video you might find interesting is when we rough plumbed the bathrooms. So I'll put a link to those videos in the description below so you can check them out for yourself. I now have both elbows glued into place, and also I have a 3/4-inch board with a shim to hold it tight to support these elbows. And now I need to get the measurement between the subfloor and the top of the elbow so we know how long we need to make our pipe. 3 3/4, and we know that we got to go 3/4 inch down into this elbow for the complete pipe length. So we got to add that, so we'll go with 4.5 from our subfloor to the pipe length, and then the subfloor is 3/4, and then 1.5 inches for the plate. And that's going to be a total of 6 3/4 inches from the top of the plate above for our pipe length. I can now remove this scrap piece of pipe. Now in order to get the length of our pipe, I'm going to place the sanity up against this stud, measure up till we get 16 to the center, which is right there. And now that we have that to where it goes, I'm going to mark to where the pipe's going to be inserted in the fitting, which is right here to this mark. Measure down, and we're going to add the 6 3/4 inch measurement to that. So 13 plus 6 3/4, so that would be 19 3/4 inch pipe. In order to cut the pipe to length, we're going to pull the tape measure off the edge of the pipe and mark the length using a marker. We then can cut the pipe using a reciprocating saw, miter saw, or circular saw. I like to use the circular saw for cutting 1.5 inch pipe because it's quick and easy. Now if I was cutting 3-inch pipe, I would definitely use the miter saw for the best cut. After cutting the pipe, be sure to deburr the inside of the pipe. I just use the utility knife. And after you do the inside of the pipe, do the outside of the pipe. So very important. And of course, we will do both sides. And like always, we're going to dry fit to make sure the pipe is the correct length before gluing it on to the fitting. And we got 16 inches to the center, no problem. All right, so we know that's the correct length. I'm now going to glue this into place. It is definitely a little more difficult to glue the pipe into place when it is tucked back into this joist space, but after experience doing it, it actually is not too bad. You just got to take your time, twist the pipe, and then get the pipe into the fitting and give it a quarter turn like you typically would. So it is now installed. Now that we got the pipe glued into the elbow below, we're going to install the sanity. And this is going to be for our vent facing up. So you want to make sure that the drain is in this orientation. We're going to place this on dry fit at first. Using a framing square, I'm going to frame right off the studs and place in a scrap piece of pipe in order to adjust this so that we ain't angled the wrong way. We want to make sure we are square with the wall. If we put it on, it looks like about in this orientation, should work just fine. Now that it's in the orientation we want, using a marker, we're going to place our alignment points on the sanity and on the pipe. So when we glue it together, we shoot for the alignment points. We now have our sanity glued into position. I'm now going to explain how I'm going to vent this sink. In our area, we can use what's called a Studor vent, and this is an air admittance valve. Air comes in but will not go up and out. So because of that, it's more or less a one-way valve. So we do not have to place any vent pipe going up through the roof. So this is great when you're in a confined space and cannot get a vent pipe out, such as a sink in an island. But it also works great here when you're under a window, because if not, we'd have to drill through the jacks that's holding up the window's header, and that will weaken that area. And it is okay to do that, don't get me wrong, but it's a lot of extra work to drill through all these studs, go up through the roof, put on the flashing for the pipe and all that. So it's much easier to place a Studor vent here instead. So that's what we opt to do in our area, is use a Studor vent here under the sinks. So I'm going to show you how to install that. But if we were not going to install the Studor vent, we would end up elbowing over, going through the jacks like I explained and up through the roof. But this is going to be a much easier option. In order to install the air admittance valve, essentially we just have to install this street elbow. And this is a street elbow because we have the side that's male that's going to go into the female side of this part of the fitting. So because of that, we're just going to glue this into place, and we're going to face directly out from the wall just like we did when we installed the sanity. We are now elbowed out for our vent. After the drywall is installed is when we would install the Studor vent. And to install it, very straightforward. Once the drywall's on, we're going to install an 1.5 inch pipe to stub out through the drywall, followed up with a 90-degree 1.5 inch elbow, and it can be sharp because this is for vent. We're going to place that directly up. Then we would place a small piece of 1.5 inch pipe. Then we would install the Studor vent, and the Studor vent is going to be installed in this fashion, and it can accept 2-inch pipe with the adapter that's sent with this vent. And this is a mini vent, and it can handle up to 160 DFU, which is drainage fixture units, so that can handle actually a fair amount of drainage. The great thing about this fitting is that once we install it with Teflon tape, we can uninstall it easily and replace it if there is ever a problem with it, and then reinstall a new one without cutting out any pipe and re-gluing the joints or anything of that nature. So very nice Studor vent. And if you like, check this out. I'll put a link to it in the description below so you can check it out for yourself. And obviously we would glue all these fittings together like we typically would when we ran our drain pipes. Now that the drain line's roughed in, we can address the water lines. An important note here, this is an exterior wall, and oftentimes if you can avoid it, do not put water lines in the exterior wall if you can avoid it. Now if this was an interior wall, we would place this stub out bracket here, and this would be a little on the low side. We'd really want it installed here, but we have this block here in the way. But this would be screwed to the wall, and then we would have our bin supports holding our pecs to come up through the wall. And again, if this was interior, it's totally fine to do it like that. But if you are interested in knowing how to install the bin supports, check out the link description below of the bathroom I roughed in previously. I go over great detail how to install these. But because we're on an exterior wall, we want to stub our pipes right up through the floor. And that's going to be important so we do not risk freezing the pipe. And this is PEX A pipe, which can withstand more cold weather and is more freeze resistant than, let's say, CPVC or copper. But in this case, we got the PEX A and we're going to stub it right through the floor just to be on the safe side because we can. So I'm going to get my measurements here on the floor, then drill out the holes. Here is the center of the sink where this mark is on the floor. We want to place our water lines 4 inches apart here. So we're going to go 2 inches to the left and right. And then we're going to come out from the framing 3 to 4 inches to drill out the floor. We are going to come out 3 inches for this. I will be drilling out the subfloor with a 5/8 drill bit. This is the perfect size for the 1.5" PEX A pipe. We can now stub our pipes up through the floor. The hot's going to be on the left, the cold on the right. Using my PEX tubing cutters, I'm going to cut the PEX off from the roll where we stubbed it up through for another fixture, and then unroll it and stub it up through the floor for the kitchen sink's hot first, which is placed to the left, and then we place the cold to the right. I now have the 1/2" PEX A water line stubbed up through the floor, and I will keep these this long until we go to cut it for our final install. And this again is plenty long enough for the installation, but I like to keep it long because again, we got to cut it off after we plug it off here in a moment. And also whenever you're fishing your cabinet over these water lines, it's a little easier since they're long, they can fish up through the cabinet as you're setting it down, to where if you cut it off down this low, it's a little more difficult to line them up the holes when you're drilling out your cabinet to fish these through. Because this is a new construction install, we need to pressure test the system, so we will plug these ends off. So let me show you how to do it. In order to install the plug on the end of the PEX A, I must first install the expansion sleeve. You'll notice there's a stop on this side, then on this side it's open. We're just going to place that right over the pipe and tight until it hits the stop. We're then going to use our expansion tool and place slight pressure into that sleeve and expand this 4 to 5 times, then place the plug and allow this to contract back around it. And once that contracts back around it, we're going to have a watertight seal. And do the same to the cold side. We are now capped off. Here are the 3/4 inch water lines coming up through the slab, and here are the 1/2 inch water lines we just stubbed up through and plugged off. So we need to transition from the 3/4 inch pipe to the 1/2 inch pipe on the hot and cold side. For the cold side, I'm going to install this T that's 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, 3/4, so that way we can tee over for the ice maker, and this will continue up to the sink. So I'm going to cut the 3/4 inch pipe to this height to begin this installation. I'm going to cut the 3/4 inch water line first to this height. Using the 3/4 inch expansion sleeve, I'm going to place this on the end of the pipe first. I switched the head on the expansion tool to the 3/4 inch head, so that way we can expand this 3/4 inch sleeve. I'm now going to cut this pipe to length to right here. I now have my 1/2 inch head back on, and I'm going to connect here in this location. We are now connected from the 3/4 inch pipe to the 1/2 inch, and we will install this going to the ice maker in another video. For the hot side, I'm going to be using a reducing coupling. This is going to go from 3/4 to 1/2 inch, and we do not have to branch off for the ice maker like we did for the cold side, so this is just a straightforward connection. I'm now reduced from the 3/4 to 1/2 inch. As you can see, both of the hot and cold lines are connected. In order to plug off these areas, we're going to be using these plugs made by Odie that are reusable. They simply go into the ends of the fittings, and then they tighten down with a wing nut in order to seal off the ends. So we just place them right in the ends of the opening and then tighten it right up, and that's going to seal off so we can do our hydrostatic test. We're going to place one here and then one at the top here as well. Another option you have to plug the ends off is to glue a 1.5 inch pipe into each one of these openings and then place a cap on them, glue it in, and it's sealed off that way. And then after your hydrostatic test is over, you just cut off those ends and then place your adapter on for your P-trap afterwards, or in this case, this is for our Studor vent. So that's another option you have as well. If you would like to see how I'm going to hydrostatic test the drain lines and pressure test the water lines, check out this video. It'll help you out.